Since 93 Sports, the only place for sports, entertainment, and the most relevant social issues of today. Alright, since 93 Sports, back with another one. Wanted to go ahead and get my prediction on the Jermell Charlo versus Erickson Lubin for the WBC World Light Middleweight Championship of the World, Super Welterweight, whatever y'all want to call it. This is an interesting fight. It should be a very competitive fight. It should be the main event on the card. Jermell Charlo has reiterated this a lot in his recent interviews. It almost seemed like he's throwing shots at Erislandy Lara because he's the main event, you know. So maybe he's creating a little bit of tension there to where there might not be no love lost between the two camps, and they can go ahead and make a fight happen. And that'll be an interesting fight, and that's another fight to talk about in the future. But back to this fight, I went ahead and looked up the odds on this fight, and the odds are very close. It had Jermell Charlo a -175 favorite, and they have Erickson Lubin a +138 underdog. So basically, this is how it was explained to me. So in Jermell Charlo's case, where he's a -175 favorite, basically you would have to bet $175 to make $100. And then if you bet on the underdog, Erickson Lubin, you would have to bet $100. You'd have to bet $138 to make $100. I could be wrong. I'm not a betting man, but that's kind of how it was explained to me. I'm gonna have to look into it more because I don't know if my logic is all the way there, but that's the gist of it. But anyway, this is an intriguing fight. We know that Jermell Charlo likes to keep his opponent on the end of his punches. So I feel like the only way that Lubin can win this fight is if he's able to get inside that jab. Jermell Charlo is one of the best jabbers at 154, and his brother has a great jab too, and he definitely has a dangerous right hand. Looking at his record, he's 29-0 with 14 KOs. I would think he would have a little bit more KOs on there if he was a devastating puncher. But he's almost at, well, it's almost 50% KO ratio, somewhere in there. But though a lot of those KOs probably came in the beginning of his career. So we don't know if he's a devastating puncher at an elite level. With the, what was that guy's name? With the John Jackson fight, it was a lucky fight. I don't know what the fuck happened with John Jackson where he just started pawing at his eye, and then, you know, Jermell Charlo got him the fuck out of there like he was supposed to. But he was lucky in that fight, and it was a guy that used movement. I don't know if Lubin can use that kind of movement to beat Charlo, but that's definitely the should be a game plan that they worked on, is using a lot of movement. But Lubin's one of those fighters that you look at him and you're like, this guy does nothing spectacular or flashy, but he has his fundamentals down and he gets the job done. Kind of similar to the way I look at Badu Jack and Errol Spence. They're one of those guys that when you watch him fight, you're not like, man, this guy's fucking spectacular. I've never seen anything like this in my life. You don't say that when you see these guys, but they got the fundamentals down. They're always on balance, ready to throw a shot, and they always get the job done. So you can't really knock them. And guys like that, those are the guys that kind of get underestimated, because when you see them, you know, it's not nothing like crazy spectacular, but, you know, they're getting the job done. Another guy like that, I would have to say Mikey Garcia. He's another one of those guys to where he doesn't do anything spectacular. He's not a super fast guy. You know, he's not got dazzling footwork and shit, but he's one of those guys that gets the job done on pure fundamentals, always on balance, doing everything right, not doing everything spectacular or great, but they do everything good. And that's a good attribute to have. You know, a lot of these guys are focused on, you know, trying to look like Floyd Mayweather, keep their hands down, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, back to the fight. I really, it's hard to think. My heart wants to go with Lubin by knockout in the later rounds, but my mind wants to say Jermell Charlo by unanimous decision and still the world champion of the light middleweight, super welterweight, 154-pound division. Lubin could pull this off. It's a tight fight. It's a close fight. I would say it's a 60-40 fight in Jermell Charlo's favor, only based on the experience. We've seen a lot of Jermell. We've seen him in tough situations. He's been able to overcome those situations. We haven't seen Lubin in any of those situations, but he could come out and prove us all wrong. In the Errol Spence situation, we kind of seen him up against contenders. We haven't even seen Lubin up against contenders. That's the situation. We haven't even seen this guy up against contenders. With Errol Spence, we've seen him up against Bundu. We've seen him up against Chris Algieri. We kind of could gauge him off of those two fights, and those were guys that were in championship contention and had fought for championships. So that's a whole different situation. But anyway, my prediction is Jermell Charlo by unanimous decision. You got me on record. I wouldn't be disappointed if Lubin pulls this off, but my mind's going with Jermell Charlo by unanimous decision. Since 93 Sports, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified when all my latest content drops. And I'm out.